Welcome back, everyone, as we continue with the MSG 150 at home presented by Chase. Bill Pito along with Steve Alliquette, and it is our pleasure to say hello to former Ranger Dan Girardi, who is celebrating his birthday, his 36th birthday, with us. Dan, great to see you. Happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much. I wouldn't want to spend it with any other two guys, that's for sure. Not my family or anything, just you guys for sure.
Way to lie right out of the box. Just so you know, Valley has not been a great TV teammate. How was he as a teammate on the Rangers?
Well, I thought he was amazing. He always brought a good energy to the room. He did a really good job. He knew Hank had the starts, but he came to the rink every day, worked hard. We called him stand-up Steve in practice sometimes, though. Get a little end of practice, get a little tired, you just throw a 5-hole on him. But I really enjoyed to have Steve as a teammate. I was teammates with him in Hartford as well. And we had a lot of good times there, and one good time at his house. I remember. We could talk about that when we get off air. But I think he was a really good teammate for me for sure.
I was the team DJ.
He was the best DJ and dancer on the team. Yeah. Is that true?
Oh, that's one. Yeah, I didn't know how far we're going to go here, but yeah, he was the DJ, best dancer. We go out, he'd be right in the middle of everything, and he always was the life of the party.
Well, we love him, and we're glad he's on our team these days. Dan, as for you, this was your first year out of the NHL. You retired in September after 13 great seasons, 11 with the Rangers, 2 at Tampa Bay. How is it like not being in the league?
Well, right now it's great. I don't have to worry about the pause that's going on here. But, it was a tough decision for me definitely to retire. But at the end of the day, it was the best thing for me, for my body, my family. I had such a blast coaching my son's team this year at Vinny LeCavalier. I have to pump our tires a little bit. We did win the state championship in Florida this year, so
nice.
That was pretty cool way to finish my time in Florida. And I'm not sure how many people know or you guys, but we are moving back to Canada permanently in a couple weeks. So we're cutting our ties here with Florida and going back to some weather back in Niagara Falls, Ontario.
Danny, coaching your son, it must be an amazing thing. I go through it as well, but the fact that you weren't drafted in the NHL. You start in the East Coast Hockey League. Your rookie year in Hartford, there was 42 players on the roster that year. You managed to make it through that in the NHL. And this is a bit of a two-parter. Is that team that you played for in junior, the Welland Cougars, is that a real name?
Yeah, surprisingly. That was the junior B team I played for, was the Welland Cougars. And that funny little story, we were playing the Leafs in Tampa, and there was a person a sign that said, "Hey, I'm from Welland. And I'm a Cougar too," and it was an older lady dressed up all to the nines and holding a sign that I'm a Cougar. And so I told the boys had no idea what it was they were talking about. And then when I explained to them, it was pretty funny. But
Danny, how do you explain the perseverance part of it? I mean, everything that you went through. How do you explain that to the kids that you're coaching now?
Well, I pretty much tell them that it doesn't matter if you're the best kid at when kids are 9 years old this year. I'm like, it doesn't matter if you're scoring all the goals or you're still learning how to stick handle. It doesn't matter. I was a late bloomer for sure. I at this age, my son's age, I was scoring a lot of goals, but then I got turned into a D-man. So obviously I stopped scoring and putting up points. But, I really tell the kids, don't worry about what's happening now. Who's doing this, who's doing that, who's going to this camp in Toronto and getting all this special training. If you worry about yourself and worry about what's ahead of you, you can control your own destiny, really, because I didn't really care what other people were doing. I just came to work, mind my own business, had some fun at the rink, and I never was complacent or satisfied for where I was. Even 5 years into my Rangers tenure, I was still trying to figure out ways to do different things and still be consistent. And I just had such a great time and so much great experiences. I try to share it with the young kids now.
Dan, right now you are second all time in the history of the league in blocked shots, and you hardly missed a game. How did you sacrifice your body, play night after night? And was it a conscious strategy by you to say, hey, I'm undrafted, for me to stick, I got to sacrifice myself physically and get in the way of all these pucks?
I think, nowadays I'll touch on the injuries and guys playing through things. They don't play through as much things as we used to back in the day, like 10 years ago. But, I feel like, I got a puck in the ankle or a puck in the leg. I was just trying to throw my skate on and get out there and continue to play. And, now they're really careful with all those young guys, so much talent. And, I feel like there's a lot more missed games this year or this last couple of years, even my time in Tampa. guys are ready to play. Like, maybe give it one more day. And like that, for me, that wasn't even in my. Unless Jim Ramsey told me, hey, you can't play, it's a danger to yourself, I'm going out there. So I know guys had different mindsets and whatever, but I was able to play not being 100% every night, maybe 80, maybe 90. And, some games it was probably less than that, but, I just love being out there with the boys.
Danny, when I was a kid, I grew up as a young goalie without padding on the inside of my knee. We used to do an exercise. It was called glove snaps at hockey school. The whole leg is exposed. And I've always thought the shot that hurts the most is just the one that ticks the inside of the leg, that fatty part. Yeah. And it's sizzling bacon. As soon as that one gets hurt, I'd be down to sizzling. I wonder for you, with less equipment than I had, what spot, it may not look like it hurts, but it's the one that hurts the most when you're out there blocking all those shots.
Oh, I got to say, well, the one, like you said, inside the leg, just where that little fatty part is, it's just even below that, there's like your leg just shuts down. But I always found the ones on the like inside of your skate boot on your instep kind of.
Yep.
You get it right in there, and then try to put your skate on the next day. There's no chance. So, I was always trying to hopefully I got hit in a spot where I had padding, but when I didn't, it was not enjoyable.
Just amazing, though, Dan. You hardly ever missed a game, and you were part of a Rangers era. You guys, during the course of your time, made the Eastern Conference Finals 3 times. The one time you made it to the Cup final and lost to the Kings. When you start to think about that period of time, what do you think about?
Well, there's just too many memories to really, go into serious detail in any certain one. But I really cherished my time with the boys during our great runs. And obviously we didn't get the ultimate prize, but I talked to John about, how the run was, and a bunch of guys commented on it. And the one thing I heard a lot was, the stories the boys will have. Yeah, we didn't win, but we were such a good group of guys to get that far and, almost get there. But, there was a bit of a turnover, throughout those, 5-6 years, but there was that main group of guys, 9-10 guys that, forever hold that, spot in my career. And, I'm looking forward to hopefully coming back one time to the Rangers golf tournament where they honor a certain team every year, maybe the 2014 team. I'm open next summer, but, I've had such a good, fun time with that group. And, guys will make fun of me, but I still YouTube some clips from back in the day, scoring some playoff goals and enjoying the celebrations. And, it keeps me in a good mood, especially during this tough time.
And then, all that experience that you brought to Tampa with McDonough, and you've got guys there already, Hedman and Kucherov and Stamkos, you have Vasilevsky in net. I can see how you could have thought you were winning a Stanley Cup for sure last year. 62 wins in the regular season, one of the best all-time regular seasons in NHL history. Can you pinpoint now, reflecting on it a year later, maybe one thing that happened that unraveled that team?
Well, it's funny you asked that, because that does get talked about quite a bit in Tampa here, around town, going to the rink with my son. But the first year I got here, we went all the way to Game 7 Eastern Conference Finals against the Caps. They ended up winning the Cup. We were very close. And then the next year had an even better season, like you said, tied the Red Wings for the most wins ever. And, I think I honestly don't know if it was being in cruise control for so long in the regular season, maybe like 15, 20 games left. We knew we were going to finish first in the league and first in our division. And, maybe that didn't help, playing those hard games to get in the playoffs like Columbus did, Carolina. Boston was still pulling ahead of the people, but they were still battling. I don't know if that could have been maybe part of the problem, but, like I tell everybody, you don't have that many chances to win a cup. And when you get in, you have to take advantage. And, we just ran into a really hot team that was playing great. Goalie was amazing. And, they had a guy we all know very well in Torts that had him ready to run through a wall, and we just couldn't figure him out.
And Danny, our time together, we had those father and son weekends, and I thought that went a long way just for me to get to know your dad. And Big Mark was a big personality. That's where you get all of your sense of humor from. My dad was involved. He missed the bus that one year when he was hungover, and we had so much fun, and that really galvanized us. It made us really respect one another for knowing where we came from. And we had so much fun. Do you think that that's the most important thing for a franchise right now, for the Rangers in the position they're in, just to get that culture going so you have that level of care off the ice?
Yeah, I definitely think that's what helped that group for so long, and doing all those team stuff. Like the dad's trip is probably one of the best things ever that's invented for the NHL, because I'm praying, hoping one day that my son Landon makes it to the NHL and I could be on a dad's trip. That would be the ultimate thing. But like you said, you learn, you hang out with a certain group of dads, because obviously there's the Swedish dads or the Russian dads, and we're trying to all, but you gravitate to the dads that are really alike, that showed you the right way. And like I said, our dads were absolute beauties on these trips. And your dad going, "Come on, man, I'm going fast as I could." Like we missed the bus, like not even close. But we're all like waiting to go to the skate or the flight, and he's just rolling up like nothing happened. And
Shoney wanted to pull the bus out and leave us there, and I'm stuck as a backup goalie in Chicago with my dad.
Yeah. Oh man, those were some good times. And like you said, those on ice moments are great, but all that off ice stuff that not a lot of people know that happened, like dad's trip, this trip, and the boys' nights, and those are the stuff I miss the most for sure.
It was great to see you, buddy.
Just hilarious. I want to ask you, Dan, all week long here on MSG, we are looking back at the LINSANITY era, February and March, mainly February 2012. The 11-12 season, you guys made it to the conference finals against the Devils before losing in 6 games. You guys share a practice facility with the Knicks. When LINSANITY was going on there in the early stages of 2012, what was it like being around all that?
Well, I thought it was pretty sweet, because obviously we were doing very well. I don't know when the Winter Classic was, but the Winter Classic we had a great experience there. And then obviously when Jeremy Lin came along and was just tearing it up, and the city was going bananas, and I felt like we were having a really good year, and then people would be like, "Oh, having a great year," and then all of a sudden they bring up Jeremy Lin, and be like, "Well, I thought we were doing well, and this guy's just taking over the Garden and taking over New York City." And I thought it was a very, very cool time to be a Ranger and be at the Garden, and be a part of that the great atmosphere we had around him, for sure.